It's 6:30 on September 13th, and I welcome you back to another episode of Incoming FaceTime from Suhani. Today's is a Youth Spotlight episode, and today's Youth Spotlight is shining on a team that is rewriting the way young people talk about cancer. I'm joined by members of Curing with Care, a 501c3 nonprofit led by teens whose mission is to empower youth to rewrite the narrative of cancer through awareness, comprehensive education, and fostering hope, resilience, and triumph. Since launching, they've grown to over 850 members, raised more than $35,000, and built 40 plus chapters across the country, all while balancing school, friends, and everyday teen life. We're going to dive into their story, the impact they're making, and how they're proving that age is no barrier to changing the world. Let's give a big welcome to the incredible team behind Curing with Care, and I'm going to hand the mic off to you guys to introduce yourselves.
Hey, I'm Aditi and I am currently the Chief Executive Officer of CARE. I'm currently a senior at North Allegheny, which is in Pittsburgh, Pennsylvania, and in my free time, I like to dance and play the viola.
Hey, my name's Pranathi Mangipudi, and I'm a junior at Sammamish High School. I I'm the COO of Curing with Care, and in my free time, I like to dance and sing and hang out with friends.
Awesome. So, as you guys heard, both of them are from completely different states, completely different cities, which I found was so interesting when I first talked to you guys. So, for my first question, let's talk about like the origin story and like your motivations. Like, how did Curing with Care begin? Like, how did you guys meet each other? Like, tell me all about it.
Yeah, so CARE actually started as a club at my high school. It was just kind of a club that just kind of did what CARE does today. And as like time went on, we began to just kind of expand through like word of mouth. There were a bunch of other local schools that were near us that were really interested in what we were doing. So they also started to have clubs at their school. And a main thing of what I was doing was kind of helping these new clubs and like teaching them how exactly they should have like successful meetings and events and kind of just like mirroring what we did at my high school. And as we like kind of began to grow, we had like a good Instagram presence, and through Instagram is actually where Pranathi first came into contact with care.
Pranathi, could you tell me more about how you started care at your high school? Obviously, whole new state and everything.
Yeah, okay. So I was like in freshman year, and obviously I was looking for good things to put on my college applications. So I came across the hair Insta, and I found it super cool. They were like already had made such a big impact by the time I was joining, and I was like, wow, this is super cool. Like I want to be a part of this, and I want to go into the medical field, which made sense. So I kind of joined the organization. I like talked to Aditi and Avni, and like I had a little interview process with them. And then I started the Seattle branch, and
Wow.
we had a I was like regional director for I think around a year, like a couple months more. And after a while, they offered me a spot on the board. So I was like, wait, this is super cool. And I became director of project management. And I think that's where I really fell in love with what I was working on. Like I found it super fun to, meet all these people and do all these things, and like all the organization part of the nonprofit gave me so much experience, and I like kind of just kept working with them, and now I'm at COO, and I'm like really close with Aditi too. Like over the years I've known her, we've like talked a lot and become good friends.
Yeah.
Sweet, that is so sweet. No, yeah, when you guys told me you guys go to different states, I was like, oh my goodness. And like when I first found out that you guys went to different states, I was so shocked because like the way you guys talk and are so close, I would think you guys went to the same school or something. So that's really cool. Let's go more into Cure with Care. Okay, I love the mission. I love the Instagram. I think it's so cute, beautifully aesthetic. But basically, your mission of care talks about rewriting the narrative of cancer. So, what does that word rewrite mean to you guys in practice?
Yeah, so I think for me, a big thing that I kind of realized after joining care was that as like a teenager, you actually have like the skills to make an actual difference. I know a lot of people sometimes think that like in order to like help further healthcare, you have to be a doctor or you have to do some kind of research. But care kind of really showed me that like as high schoolers, you have the like potential to join events, help fundraise, and even if you can't actually like help create a vaccine, you can still like participate in events in your community and kind of support the efforts.
That is so true. I completely agree with that. And even like small grassroots efforts mean the world. Seriously, like it's just about taking the step and like going the extra step because again, if everyone's doing it, we can have something great together, and I think that is so beautiful. I love that.
Yeah,
Especially when you since you guys are like a high school-based organization, right? Most of your people are like students, and your audience is students, and your board members are students. So how do you balance like the hope and realism when you're talking about something as heavy as cancer, right? Like talking about that and like making posts for it on the Instagram and advocating for it in general.
yeah. So I think one thing about that is I think as you like participate in more events through care, it kind of really like becomes personal. I know for me, like even something that I've realized with care is that like even like the smallest um like things that you do for someone can really make an impact in their life. Like it doesn't have to, I mean, obviously care has raised thousands of dollars, but sometimes that I know like the most impactful events for me are the ones where I can like talk with someone one-on-one or know that I can like really make a big difference in their life. I know for me, one of my favorite events is we go to a local hospital nearby and during Christmas we go and like give them crafts. And I know
Oh,
that like that's a very impactful event for me because I know that a lot of them might not have family members that are nearby or they don't really have anyone that's thinking of them on like during the holidays, and holidays are especially a time where you kind of want to be with other people. So I know at least through care those have been kind of the events that are much more impactful like for me. And I think like as high schoolers, sometimes you real like you take a lot of things for granted, but care has kind of really showed me, and I think a lot of the other board and everyone that like kind of participates in it, that like small things can actually make an impact. And I think that kind of is what like helps um drive what I do.
that's so sweet. That was actually my next question because, look, in just a few years, this organization has grown to like 850 members, like 40 chapters across the nation. And so, like, seeing that, like, these like key mindsets of like helping people and empathy and kindness is fueling that growth, I think is very beautiful. And like, that's what we need more in society, honestly. And I think Gen Z in general is just doing such a good job with that. And we really are like, just doing amazing things, and it is so inspirational to hear your guys' story from it. And so obviously, like as I said, right, you grow into so many members, so many chapters, and obviously you and again, I'm still so bamboozled. Like you guys are so far away. Like, how does the entire team, the executive board, you two, the members, how does everyone maintain connection and culture across so many chapters?
I think the biggest part of this is that everyone on the board has like initiative. Like they if say like everyone's busy, somebody's always going to step up and be like, "Hey, like what's happening? Like what do we want to do?" And I think that's what helps us all stay like really strong together and help like manage a lot of things is that like everyone here is not just doing it because they like have to do it or because they need volunteer hours or anything, but it's like everyone has their own like way of passion for doing it, and so nobody's like really going to let it kind of just fall down. So everyone's like always like pulling their part of the way and like showing initiative, which I think is like a really good quality that like helps us stay strong.
That's good. So would you say like for like clubs who maybe are just starting off, right? Like would that be a
Mhm.
piece of advice you give to them?
Yes, I think that's like a super big thing is like because when I was director of project management, I was like talking to all of the chapters and branches. And I think the biggest thing I saw between some who were making like a bigger impact than others was that they were constantly on top of it. And they were like always like, staying motivated to do it. And I think that's like the biggest piece of advice that I would give to anybody starting a club for anything is like to stay motivated and to like always be the one to step up when, things get a little quiet or get hard.
Yeah,
Oh,
I know that like a lot of people typically like I know like the whole college application process is obviously like very stressful and people always just want to like have things look good on their resume. But I think one thing that's kind of like really made care what it is today is that as Pranathi said, everyone on the board like takes the initiative and really cares about what they're doing. Like I feel like all of us have a strong passion for what we're doing, and we can spend like hours upon hours working on the organization without feeling like stressed at all. And I think that's what really differentiates um like care from a lot of other organizations is the fact that we have so many dedicated members that put in so much time to kind of like make care what it is today. So I think for anyone that is like starting a new club, I think just making sure that you have that passion behind what you're doing and just like taking a minute to think about like, hey, if college wasn't a thing or if like building my resume wasn't a thing, would I really be like really want to do this? And I think for me, at least for care, regardless of whether like building a resume was a thing or not, I think I would still really, really want to be part of the organization. So I think having that passion behind like what you do really makes a difference between like clubs that are like really, really successful and have grown really big versus those that just kind of um like stay pretty small.
I like that. Yeah, I feel like passion is such a beautiful thing. And it's like, I know I saw this thing online once that passion is it's not like a feeling, it's like a mix of feelings. It's a mix of love and anger, like a love for like the topic that you're doing and anger that it's not being showcased more and it's not like getting the recognition it deserves or like like you want to make change for it. And I
Mhm.
think seriously, if I had to describe you guys, like passion is the one thing that is completely driving care. It sounds like everyone is so locked in, everyone's loving what they do, and it's just such a good team environment. Would you agree?
Mhm.
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah. So obviously you guys have a great team, but let's look a little more behind the scenes. Like what's one BTS challenge people might not expect when running a nationwide nonprofit at your age and at this scale too?
Um, go ahead, go ahead.
No, no, it's okay, go ahead.
Okay. So I know that we've also like we've talked about having such like a dedicated like board and team, but I think also one of our biggest challenges has kind of been that there's so many members that are part of care. Like managing, I think we have like over 850 members now. Managing such a high amount of people and like getting responses from people and having everything kind of planned out has definitely been one of our biggest challenges. I know me and Pranathi, we spent a lot of time last year trying to figure out like what the most efficient way to contact people is because all the high schoolers that are part of care also have to deal with like their daily life and like kind of the other things that like high schoolers kind of go through. So I think really being able to make sure that we're like staying in constant contact with everyone has definitely been one of our biggest challenges. We've gotten a bit ghosted way too many times, but I think we have like kind of gotten good at like handling managing a lot of people, but I think definitely that has been our biggest challenge is like staying in contact with like everyone and not just the people who are like very, very passionate about it, but like just kind of anyone that kind of joins the organization.
Oh yeah, I agree. That's really cool though. But still, like even then, like this challenge, you guys are doing so great and have still scaled so well. It's honestly like hats off to y'all. So for the next section, I'm gonna ask about impact and outreach. So is there like a particular campaign or fundraiser outreach effort that you guys are most proud of?
I think for me, we've done lots and lots and lots of events like throughout the different branches we have, and I think some of them are really, really cool. But I think the biggest one that I have like the closest personal connection is the one that I did last January. Basically I sing, right? I sing Carnatic music. And so I hosted a Carnatic music concert in hopes to like raise a bigger amount of money. So it was kind of larger scaled, like I booked out a whole venue and I had like a specific person for audio. I had lots of like 30 plus volunteers on hand and like a lot of just people involved in the process. And I think that's the one I was like most proud of because we did end up raising like over I think 2K, 3K um in like money. But, I think the amount of work I put into that and I think that was, like, the event that kinda pushed me to get on the board and to, like, really realize, like, "Hey, this is, like, something I really wanna do." So I think that's, like, my proudest, like, event that I've been a part of.
Wait, that's so cool. I love how you like combine two things that you loved. And
Yeah.
then it was so good. They're kidding. Like $2,000 is like no small amount. That's so good. Aditi, do you have one that you're proud of or that you love the most?
I think this is really difficult. I think I've like gotten a chance to oversee so many events because I was the one that kind of like headed all the chapters last year and was able to like really interact with all of them. I think for me personally, One of the ones that I have done that has been really impactful was the American Cancer Society like Daffodil Days event. So basically, like the Daffodil Days event used to be like nationwide. Like so similar to how kind of how CARE is, American Cancer Society is like kind of the adult version of us, I'd say, like slightly. And they have like regional directors that are all around the country, and those regional directors used to like kind of help out with Daffodil Days and like have them in like different communities. But whenever COVID hit, that kind of restricted like the event because like have like shipping flowers across the country, especially with the whole like restrictions with the pandemic, was very difficult. So Daffodil Days, even post pandemic, was kind of just restricted in like the northeast region of like the United States. So one thing that I did was this year I helped like expand that out to different care chapters. So basically what I did is I was partnering with my local ACS regional director, and we kind of just talked and we connected like the event with a bunch of care chapters that were across the country. And actually we were able to like successfully get flowers out to some of the chapters and get them to be able to sell. So that was, I think, one of my biggest and like proudest accomplishments was to be able to get that event that used to be nationwide through ACS and then got like kind of closed down because of the pandemic, but through like the like efforts of both me and the regional director, we were able to kind of spread it through all the care chapters again. So that was really nice.
That sounds so fun. And Daffodil, like, so you guys would just send flowers throughout the nation?
So yeah, so basically they come from Washington State. So they have ACS is kind of partnered with, I don't know the like specific logistics, but they get daffodils and tulips, which they're able to kind of ship out, and people kind of sell them in their community, and like the remaining ones would get donated to like local hospitals. But yeah, it was just kind of like a local like flower fundraiser, which was really nice.
That's cool. I've never heard of a flower fundraiser. That's actually really cool. I like that. All right. Next section is just going to be like personal reflection for both of you. So, like, what skills have you learned from the care journey that you never expected to learn in high school?
Um, for me, I think honestly has been like organizing such a large number of people, and also I think dealing with time zone differences. I think that has been one of the big things that like as a high schooler you don't really have to like navigate time zones whenever you're like scheduling calls with people. Like I've had to wake up early to like meet with someone from Dubai. I've had to like me and Pranathi are 3 hours apart. And I think like being able to organize such a large number of people, but also people that are not just from my local high school, that are from basically all over the world, has been like a skill that I think I never really thought that I would end up learning in high school. And I think a lot of people don't even learn this in college, maybe when they're working at a company that's like international. But I think that has been a skill that I think has really like taught me to stay organized and has kind of like helped me a lot in life.
Aw. Pranathi, what about you?
I think for me, it's like a little bit more personally, because like before care, I used to struggle with kind of being confident in my words and talking to people who I felt were like, in big positions. Like if I saw somebody that was like, really famous or something like that, like I'd be so scared to go talk to them, or just like anyone. Like if I wanted to partner with anyone, like I would be so scared to talk to them. And I think the biggest thing with care is that I've kind of just learned to like, like talk to people, be more open and kind of like be able to like have good conversations with people that I don't really know. Cause like when I was the director of project management, I would meet with all of the branches. And so I would talk to a bunch of different people. I've talked to lots and lots and lots of people. And I think that gave me so much experience in just being confident with my words. And I think that's like something I'll just carry with me forever, is like being confident with what I'm saying and being confident with my words. So
That's so sweet. No, yeah, I couldn't even tell like from talking to you that this was like that was something you struggled with. Like you do it with so much clarity and confidence. Like you're you're doing so good. Um, Next question is what has but also we have like skills, right? Like personal skills, but what has this work taught you about leadership, especially like teenage leadership, student
I think I kind of like address that a bit in terms of like my answer to the last question, but I think Like leadership for me has kind of been that like it's taught me that not everything is going to go your way all the time. Like you're going to run into issues and the best thing to do is just kind of like work with your team to navigate it because there have been a lot of times where people are supposed to have something due or and they don't end up getting it and on time. And I think for me a lot of like what Kara has taught me is to be able to like step in last minute and like not become super stressed and just kind of like handle the situation that I'm in and make sure that like everything is going well, even if it's like if it doesn't seem like it's gonna go well in like the last minute. So I know like at least for me it's been like stepping in and kind of just like fixing things whenever something feels like it's about to go downhill.
That's good. I like that
Yeah,
answer.
I actually kind of relate to Aditi on that one. I think like the biggest thing I did learn from like my experience so far is being positive in stressful situations. And I think kind of like tracing back to the concert actually, I think I booked the venue like I think a couple weeks or months before I was actually going to do the event, but we didn't really go check in like till a couple days before, and that's when I realized like their audio system was not good. They had two mics and we needed like 10 plus or like 7 plus. And so I think I was so stressed because, like, if you wanted to get somebody to set up like extra mics and things like that, you needed to book them weeks in advance too. But I think being really positive and like reaching out to all these people helped me like find someone who was able to eventually do it like on the day of. But I think that's like, and like, even in other scenarios, like talking to other branches and all of that work too, is like, it's taught me to be really positive in stressful situations because I like tend to lash out or like, get really upset. But I think that's like a big thing about like I learned like related to leadership would be like just being positive and being supportive of everyone around you because like I guess everyone has their own things going on too.
That's
Yeah.
so sweet. Yeah, Aditi, what were you saying?
Oh, wait, sorry. No, I was just I think I relate to like the last thing that Pranathi says is you like kind of not you never really know what like anyone is going through. So I think a lot of the things that I've learned with leadership is that a lot of the people that you're working with are not like at your local high school, especially because care is so big. So like kind of being understanding and like understanding that like people might be going through different things or having like different like events that will like last minute pop up in their life and that like we are high schoolers that are also dealing with other things besides working with care, I think has definitely been something that I've learned to kind of just like if someone doesn't get in like something last minute, just to kind of like talk through it with them, make sure that like everything is going okay. And if like someone feels as if they're like getting too much work, making sure to like delegate that and making sure that like all the work that everyone is doing is kind of being delegated like efficiently and like not one person is doing like too much, I think is has been something that I've learned through like care leadership as well.
That's so good. And honestly, these skills are things that you use like throughout your life, like in like you use it like in the classroom, out the classroom, like once you go to college, once you like earn a job, like all these things. And I think it's like super great that like kids our age are like getting so involved in these type of things and being able to like share their experiences and leadership. And honestly, that's all what Youth Spotlight is about, right? You guys getting to share this with like the audience. Like this is so great. I love this. Honestly, let's take a fun personality break. So, when you guys first signed up for this episode, your team described your vibe as chaotic. So, what's the funniest or most chaotic moment from like a meeting or an event?
Oh, this is different. Okay. At least for my chapter, one thing that I know is that every time we have an event, we actually have one coming up and we've already been like planning our next outing. So after every single event like that we do in Pittsburgh, we always go out like to get food or like kind of hang out somewhere. So I think that's kind of whenever we like have been working so hard um like during the event and like making sure everything's going well and like running all the logistics or whatever. And then kind of just like right after is the time where all of us just kind of like get to hang out outside of like the professional environment and we all just kind of like become friends. So I think that's like one thing I know for me and Pranathi, even though we're like literally miles apart, we've kind of become friends too. So I think like even after like having like a professional event or like kind of participating in the community, we all just kind of like make sure to like have some time after to just kind of spend time together or just kind of like hang out. So I think that's kind of like what we kind of always do that ends up being really, really chaotic. So yeah.
That's super fun. No, yeah, I feel like always like or like even like I remember I did theater, so like the after rehearsal, like dinners and like the the desserts and the ice cream, the froyo runs. Like, I feel like that always like builds it, even though we're like never, maybe we may never be talking about like the actual thing we're doing, but like it always like team building and like
Team building, yeah.
seriously. No,
Yeah, no,
yeah.
definitely. Our like we have an event coming up and we've all just kind of been like thinking about what are we gonna do like after. So we've all just kind of like made sure that like even like to make sure to put forth our best effort into the event that we're gonna be doing. And then after we just kind of get to like all hang out together and kind of get to like know each other more outside of the personal like outside of like the professional environment. Because a lot of us weren't like, at least from my chapter, aren't really like friends outside of care. So like I think care has kind of brought us all together and kind of made us all friends. So I think that's really nice.
That is so sweet. No, and like these are friendships that like you cherish forever and like all the
Yeah.
things, right? Like it's so, so nice. It's so, so nice. But yeah, thank you guys so much for joining me on this podcast. I love talking to you guys. I loved learning about Curing with Care. And before we wrap up, let's circle back to what Curing with Care is all about for our audience. Curing with Care is an organization, a cancer organization. It's a 501c, and it's empowering teens to rewrite the narrative of cancer through awareness, education, and hope. From 850 plus members to 40 plus chapters nationwide, their work really proves that young people can make really lasting change. If today's conversation inspired you, take a second to like, comment, share, and follow so more people can discover their mission and join their movement. Again, this is the Youth Spotlight episode, so if you know anyone or any organizations that totally deserve a shout out, please let me know so I could reach out to them, or you can share the link in my bio for the Zoom scheduler to schedule a meeting with me today. Anyways, thank you guys so much for joining. Thank you, Pranathi and Aditi, for joining the FaceTime call. Thank you for picking up my FaceTime. And yeah, I loved having you guys. Thank you so much.
Thank you so much. I
Thank
loved being on
you.
here.
Of course. All right, that's all for tonight, FaceTime fam. I'll see you on the next one. Stay safe, good night, and YOLO.